And there were definite red flags for both of you when you were saying things like, I wish you wouldn't date other people, and I wish that you would put energy towards the relationship that we're building, and I wish that you would see how this unfolds in the future, and
Yeah.
can you give us some time? And then her response being, absolutely not. I am single, poly, and I'm going to date who I want to date. And in fact, I'm going to date the next guy that asks me out on a date and fuck him. Like, those are huge red flags and
Yeah.
huge misalignments that are no-go forwards for either party that over the last 8, 9, 10 weeks, we have definitely been overlooking. Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom Podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to the Open Bedroom Podcast. Today I have my husband, Scott. This is the first time that I've actually gotten to announce you as my husband, so this is pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah. It's been a little while.
It has been a long while. I don't even remember what our last podcast recording was together, but it was definitely in the 100s, and we're at 215, I think, today. So anyway,
Mm.
babe, welcome back.
Yes. Hi. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. So
Uh,
today we're talking about swiping right on a fantasy when the match doesn't match.
mm,
Um, we are coming out of a breakup, very recent as of this week, and we thought, man, this is such a great time to stop and reflect on what worked, what didn't work, what do we want more of, and what do we want less of as we move forward, as I'm sure she is also doing the same. But in general, in terms of dating, have you ever swiped right? You get really excited, you finally meet up, and then you're like, who is this person? Like, that's happened a few times to Scott and I, where the person in the picture didn't match the real life version of this particular person. So we'll talk a little bit about that, where you're not vibing because what you're selling isn't actually what you're getting. So today we're talking about what happens when that fantasy that we swiped on doesn't actually match the real person sitting in front of us. Why do we ignore red flags? Why do we try to force chemistry where there isn't any? And how do we stop falling for potential and choosing aligned matches instead? I'm super excited about this conversation. I've been wanting to have Scott come back on for so many weeks anyway, and this was the perfect opportunity.
mm.
So, babe, we have had some great matches. We've had a few not so great matches. We've had,
What makes a great match? What would you categorize as being a great match?
hmm,
You don't like not necessarily to name names. Well, I don't know. Um, maybe I'm curious what what is a great match if ultimately all of our matches have dissipated at some point.
I think that's such a great question because when I tell people you're my third husband, that's the first thing they think of. Oh, you had these failed
Mm,
marriages. And I wouldn't say that. I would say I had 10 years with my first husband that gave me amazing children, and I learned a whole lot of lessons. My
yeah.
second husband gave me a place to feel safe. I mean, I could go on and on. So and you guys that are listening have heard me talk about this. So to me, it doesn't have to be lifelong in order for it to be successful. I think a great match is someone that you can have fun
Mm,
with, that you can learn from, that you can get close to, that you can feel safe with, even if it's just for a few weeks, or even if it's, I guess our longest relationship was for a year and a half. But
yeah.
I see Sir Honeyball back there.
Yeah,
What do
he's
you think?
investigating. Um,
What do you consider a successful match? Because I'm the only one you've married and you've been dating for 20 something years.
yeah, well, off and on, but yeah. Um, hmm, that's a good question too, because yeah, I guess it can be a great match, even if it ends, even if it doesn't, you know, if something for whatever reason breaks it up, you can still have a wonderful time together and still like find it very fulfilling and have wonderful experiences and like you pointed out have something have come away grown in some way or learning something about yourself or learning something about how to engage with others. Um, hmm, yeah, I agree. When I made that comment, I thought, oh well, the uh, the benchmark, the most obvious benchmark would be, well, does this relationship last? And if it doesn't last, maybe it wasn't a great relationship. But you know what? There are great relationships that don't last.
So we talked about, kind of the theme of this podcast being when your match doesn't match. And I think this is a good opportunity for us to dive into more of like, just with this last one, like, why did the match not match? Maybe start from the beginning of maybe like the way that the dating profiles were written versus how you moved into, because you're the one that swiped right on her, it wasn't me. So maybe the original understanding of who you two were as people, and
Yeah.
then did that actually match up with reality is my question.
Well, I mean, so I like it told me that she liked me. She liked something about my profile.
Mm,
Um, and when I connected with her and talked with her, um, like she expressed a lot of curiosity. She just right from the start was seemed genuinely interested, like interested in us. She reacted to aspects of like information about myself that I put on my profile. This like substantial stuff, like not just like, oh, well, you look hot, but like, oh wow, you're you were a scientist, you are an engineer. This sounds really interesting. You seem well read. Your wife looks really is very attractive. I'm curious about her.
mm,
So there was like right from the start, the communication was substantive. Um, which I mean, everybody knows that so often is the case. There's it's a lot of fluff. If it's not just boring small talk, it's kind of a superficial degree of
mhm,
engagement. And this wasn't the case at all with her. Um, my the disconnect was in what we were both looking for in terms of the degree, I guess the degree of a connection. And, this gets kind of complicated because what she said, and I sorry, I'm kind of tripping over myself here because there's
no,
a
it's
lot of
okay.
information.
It is. It's
Um,
nuanced.
you know, I guess just to preface, yes, there were differences in what we stated we were looking for. Um, and her profile did not make this explicit. My profile made explicit that what we were interested in was meeting somebody who was curious or interested in exploring a deep and connective relationship as a throuple with a couple. And her what she was looking for, that she, to her credit, articulated to me pretty early on, was that she did not want to be in a relationship, and she just liked having friends with benefits. And she uh was not at all interested in being exclusive or monogamous with anybody. um and so she communicated that clearly to me, and I felt like it was clearly communicated in my profile what we were looking for. I think that because there was such substantial communication and just like this immediate chemistry just through talking, um, that we both kind of overlooked these
Mm,
things. And that and we kept overlooking these things, and then she met you and we got together and it was great, like we had a fantastic time together.
mm,
And so but in the background there was this critical misalignment that ultimately was was like an unavoidable crack in the foundation, and eventually it became like it manifested itself to the point where we just couldn't avoid it anymore, and things didn't work out.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair rundown of the entire scene of events. Oh my goodness. It's so hard, isn't it? Like it's so hard to stand firm to what you're looking for and what you truly desire, especially when someone in front of you checks 99.9% of all the boxes.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that I have seen you so connected to a girlfriend of ours in 4 years that we've been doing this together.
Hmm.
Like, it was such a perfect match intellectually. What's interesting is it wasn't a perfect match politically, and it wasn't a perfect match on every single way that you view the world, you as in you and her.
Well, if I could
Uh-huh.
interject there, I don't
Yeah.
think like it's not a perfect match politically. For example, like maybe it's tastes that you're not totally aligned on, um, or political viewpoints. But what's I don't think that two people who have the exact same viewpoints is necessarily perfect either. What's
Mhm.
perfect is when you can have different viewpoints but not reject each other and instead learn from each other because of that. Like that,
Mhm.
our our differences in worldview ended up being a connective thing because um, it inspired so much excellent communication between us. Like there'd be a little bit of friction and then reflection and understanding. And then that understanding built connection and built appreciation for one
Yeah.
another. So I'm grateful that we weren't just completely aligned politically or aligned in viewpoints because that presented so much opportunity for growth.
Yeah, but let's lean into that for a minute. So when I'm on, any dating app, 99% of the women on there, at least the
Yeah.
ones that are looking for other women, so they're going to be a little bit more probably, I don't know. They're probably not voting the same as you, I guess is what I'm saying. They are more liberal, that
Mm.
particularly these women. All of them are like, this is my political affiliation, and you can go fuck yourself if you're not that.
Yeah.
So it's so fascinating because I got to watch both of you, and I'm really more Switzerland, like between the two of you. I
Mhm.
got to watch her side, and I got to watch your side, and I got to watch you have the conflict and even get turned on by the conflict, and then get to be a nice recipient at the end of you're both so madly turned on by the end of the conversation. Where first I'm like, are we fighting here? Oh, we're not fighting. We're
Yeah.
flirting. Okay, I get it now. Um, because you miss all of that. And it's so difficult as I'm going through these dating apps, and every woman is like, if you vote this way, don't swipe right. If you vote that way, don't swipe. And they're missing
Right.
this like delicious conversation. And I would say the same is true between you and I. Like when we first met, we were in completely different political parties, and the way we saw the world was completely different. But you kept going. Like, Jen, have you really thought about this? Like, would
Mm.
you listen to this podcast? Would you like read this article? Would you okay, you believe that about your party? Let me tell you something else. Like I was, and I just was open. I was open to listening just like
Mm.
she was. And I think that it's created as well a lot of connectivity between you and I because I've been able to embrace not all of it, but a lot of how you believe and how you see the world. And it allows us to see the world through, I guess, a bit of the same lens,
Well,
but
I mean,
also,
I think what's happening is just we're both actually thinking, and we're not um, just just subscribing to some template of thought and then rejecting anything else.
mm,
We're thinking about it. We challenge each other to think, and I think that's really like that's such a man, that creates such fertile ground for building a relationship and for really
mhm.
keeping each other excited and keeping things interesting with each other.
Well, because I think it's an exercise in looking at the world through a multicolored lens instead
Mm.
of the lens that you decide the color should be. And then that taints or it unfolds to everything in your life. So, for example, you're building a storage shed in the backyard right now. It allows me to go, oh, these are the dimensions that you think that you want, and these are the dimensions I think that we should have. And then, like, okay, maybe I can
Mhm.
slow my roll and listen and understand why it is that you want this particular thing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that fucking makes tons of sense. This is genius. And I don't always like give in to whatever your thing is,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I think it becomes this like cycle of two-way critical communication and thought process that then opens up to a whole new level of bonding and
Yes.
yumminess and
And so getting back
sexual
to this
tension.
topic, that was like a great point of connection, like a
Hmm.
thing that did align for us. I think maybe unexpectedly. I think that she wasn't expecting to uh to be provoked into thinking and reflecting to the degree that she did. And I think that that was a big thing that made her, want to keep exploring this connection, even though she knew just as well as I did that there was this misalignment in how we stated what we were looking for.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. So these red flags, that the universe keeps just kind of going, this is not right. Well, what are you guys doing? Um, they popped up in multiple different ways, I think for both sides. And again, I feel more Switzerland because I was just kind of like rolling with it and having a great time. But how come sometimes we just choose to ignore the red flags? And is it always bad that we ignore it? Or can it sometimes just be okay?
Well, I mean, it depends on your definition of red flags. Like, red flags are just, I see as behavioral issues that make this person, just probably not ideal for a connection in general. Like,
Sure.
I don't know, like, I mean, addiction, like an active addiction, might be a red flag. Like, that's something that's going to really create uh, problems in that person's personal life, like things that are going to, like, destabilizers in the other person's life or in their behavior that makes it difficult for them to function, that makes their life a mess. That's what I think of as red flags. Um, like differences, like misalignments in what you're looking for. I don't see that as a red flag, because again, like, a red flag implies like a negative judgment about a person. um I don't judge her negatively. I don't even
Okay, but
necessarily.
hold on. To
Okay.
me, a red flag is a no-go forward move.
Okay.
And there were definite red flags for both of you when you were saying things like, I wish you wouldn't date other people, and I wish that you would put energy towards the relationship that we're building, and I wish that you would see how this unfolds in the future, and
Yeah.
can you give us some time? And then her response being, absolutely not. I am single poly and I'm going to date who I want to date. And in fact, I'm going to date the next guy that asks me out on a date and fuck him. Like, those are huge red flags and
Yeah,
huge misalignments that are no-go forwards for either party that over the last 8, 9, 10 weeks, we have definitely been overlooking.
that's true. um yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the world says like red flag is like, yeah, she's looking this way or acting this way. Like it's ridiculous, like fluffy shit that people are saying are red flags. This is like real life red flag where it's like you hit the cement wall and you can't move forward, or somehow you jump over the wall because you really want to keep seeing this person, even though you know in your heart, like she kept saying, we're just going to keep hurting each other.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like it was really painful to watch both of you hurt after those interactions, but continue to try to see each other. And really, both of you gave up something. Like while we were dating, she gave up seeing other people pretty much. Like she committed
Yeah.
to to trying to just see us. And then you gave up this idea that we would build a future with her,
Yeah.
or that
Yes.
she could see other men and fuck other men and you would be okay with it. And then that became a big struggle, right?
Um, yeah, because, well, I mean, I don't know how much we want to spill all this out. Like,
Mm,
yeah, my perspective, I think the difference in perspectives were that she did not want to give up autonomy. She didn't want anybody locking her down, as she put it, because that's how she viewed it. From her perspective, it was just somebody making her give up freedom.
mm,
Um, from my perspective, it was, hey, we like you. We love building this connect. Like we're building this great connection together. We love investing energy in you, and we're so grateful and enjoy the energy you invest into us. Um, and we want to keep doing that. It's so it would be really nice. It gives such a great feeling of security and stability if we know, well, you're not actively looking for other people. Like you're not out looking for the next new and exciting thing because you are happy and gaining satisfaction from what we're building together. And and so like I don't feel as safe and secure continuing to invest energy and make plans for things we can do together and trying to continue to come up with ways that will bond us closer together if your energy is going into looking for new like hot new and exciting new people to go and hook up with and connect with. um so I mean I can understand from her perspective, and um but I think she absolutely refused to try and understand my perspective on it. um and you know and I it's not my prerogative to lock her down if that's how she feels, if that's her priority, if her priority is to be able to go and continue to find new people. Then it is what it is, and we're just not aligned in that way. And
mm,
ultimately, ultimately she would find some new person and invest energy into that, and that would be necessarily uh, a reduction in the energy, the capacity she has for this connection. And so, I mean, that's just how it goes, I guess.
yeah, I think one of the learnings is believe someone when they tell them what they are, right? Like when she says, "This is who I am. This is who I will always be. I will never be monogamous with you and Jen ever." To believe that.
Yeah.
And we did. We had several check-ins where we were like, "Is this what we want?" Not really. But are we having a great time? We are. Can we ride this out some more? Until it got to the point where it was really getting kind of unhealthy for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. Yeah. I never fully allowed myself to get close to her because multiple
Mhm.
times she would say, "No, I want a surface relationship," which is insane to me just because I have never had anyone tell me that before. I would love a surface relationship with you.
Right.
But multiple times she said that even to me. And so it was incredibly hard for me to feel close to her or trust her. Um, and I didn't even feel like a friend, until the very end when we finally started to do stuff together. So I think like things that I would say I want to move forward and not do is don't want us to date people who are not aligned anymore to what we want. Like we really have to get super clear about what we're building, what we want to be building, the kind of women that we want to date, I think. And then
Yeah.
two, when I start to feel like I can't develop something with someone because they're putting a big wall up, like I have no interest in that. I don't have enough energy in my life to date somebody that doesn't want to be fully open and fully connective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. Like just going back to this this theme in general
Hmm.
of misalignments, um, because like on one hand, she would say things like that. Like she would re-emphasize, "Oh, I just want it to be surface. I'm not, I'm not comfortable being exclusive." And then at the same time, she is reaching out in ways to establish a deeper connection, like taking time to go, like wanting to go on a walk with you, wanting to just go have one-on-one
Yeah.
adventures with you, um, you know, getting off the dating apps, putting pretty much spending her her free time doing things with us, like connective things, like uh, not just hooking up, not just a sexual, like a shallow sexual relationship, but trying to, share books or share movies or share things that lit her up. And so I guess what I'm getting into to
Hmm.
get off of specifically this one person
Yeah.
is that um, it's it's confusing and it's difficult and tricky when the person seems to be maybe growing toward what you actually want together,
Hmm.
and despite like things that they're saying that, it's like their little disclaimers they put out front that are contrary to what you're perfectly aligned with, but then because you find each other worthwhile, you kind of grow past the disclaimer at the surface. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And, I'm sitting here thinking, I really wonder what would have changed if you wouldn't
Yeah.
have kept trying to push for her to not date other men.
Yeah.
I wonder if 6 months down the line, things just naturally would have fallen into more of that, or if not, if we just should have believed her that she,
Right.
you know, was going to keep fucking other people. And again, if that's your dynamic, for those of you listening, go for it. It's just not our dynamic.
Right.
I think what's interesting too to draw like a great correlation to this is I was very similar to her when I met you. Like I was seeing a bunch of different men. I told you about it. I was married at the time. And it got to this point where you and I were getting so close. It was very similar to what we just ended because I was saying, like, oh, I'm just having fun and I'm just wanting to, like, have new experiences. And I'm not looking to settle down. I'm fucking married. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need two husbands, right?
Yeah.
Little did I know that might have been a fun thing. Um, and it took you going, I don't want to be your every Thursday guy. Like, I
Right.
want to be your guy, your other guy. Like, if you're married, I want to be your other person. And can you stop looking? Because that does not make me feel good. It makes me feel like you're looking for something better than me.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to add to any more of that, but obviously I chose you when I had lots of opportunities to choose any of these other guys. I think they would have been thrilled to be the chosen one.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that like the other side of that is it's then it's then it's on me. Like I think, when
yeah.
you decide to make that choice, when you decide, okay, I'm gonna make you my priority, I'm gonna stay with you and
Hmm.
and focus on this, I have a responsibility to make that worthwhile for you. Like
Hmm.
I feel that I have an obligation to, you know, to deserve that, and so I have an obligation to be, a good partner for you and to let you like make sure that you're satisfied and make sure that you're happy and that you're feeling great and to not give you reasons to feel like, this just isn't really doing it for me. But I told this guy just, be exclusive with him.
Hmm.
Uh,
Which is
like
a tremendous responsibility. Like, tremendous. Scott is
it
being gentle
it can
because,
be, but it's totally worth it. Like it's worth it for me.
babe.
You're worth it for me. Like I'm happy to try and be like it. I feel good like having somebody that makes me want to be a more worthwhile person. Like that's that's a good thing for both of us, hopefully.
Hmm. I mean, I'm more thinking about like, what does it take to keep Jen satisfied?
Uh-huh.
That's a lot. Like, you've signed up for a lot.
I mean, I don't know. Like not necessarily. Like I don't view it that way. Like
Okay.
um well, at least it doesn't feel like that. When you put it like that, it's uh, like I'm not getting worn down. It's not an exhausting thing. Like keeping Jen satisfied doesn't, because you give so much back. Like there's so much reciprocation and you're, a mature and relatively actualized person. Like like keeping it's a different thing having such a mutual and reciprocal relationship with an adult versus like just coddling and pouring energy into a needy and immature person who doesn't have their stuff together. And so you're just, I mean, like taking care of a child versus having an adult relationship. So it doesn't feel like I'm just having to run around and constantly bust my ass to cater to just your needs and not, get anything out of it. Like our lives, our mindsets, um, the way we want to live is pretty compatible. So it fits really nicely. Like keeping you happy is doing things that I enjoy doing anyway and growing in ways that I want to grow anyway. Um, so it doesn't feel like a burden at all. There are plenty of people, plenty of like personalities to where that could be quite a burden and quite exhausting. But this
Hmm.
is not. It's the opposite.
Now, you did call me a sex pest the other day.
That's true. You are a bit of a serial sexual harasser, and now that and now your
And now I have
interest
free
in,
use.
yeah, your interest, your fascination with the free use thing,
I'm
you
going to
know,
do a podcast episode on this, by the way, guys.
yeah.
Free use is the best. I'm just going to have to tell you what happened the other morning because it was so fucking hot. But I want to stay on this topic for just another moment
Okay.
because what you were offering our very previous past relationship that just ended this week
Mm,
was the same thing. And to be a man that can hold all of the needs of two women
mm,
is incredible, Scott. Like incredible that you would sign up for that and that you would be willing to offer that. Now, I don't know if you could check every box she needed because we had an
right.
in-depth conversation around different kinks and things that people have that maybe aren't your jam.
Yeah.
But to be a person that you could call home, to be a person that would do everything possible to meet all of your sexual needs, at least,
Mm,
vanilla ones, vanilla sensual ones. Um, to be constantly curious about you, to bring movies and books and theories and podcast episodes and like you are a constantly evolving human that is so incredibly interesting. Every day of my life is like, oh God, what am I going to learn from Scott today? Like, what is new? What crazy
oh.
shit is he going to send my way? And you're never boring. And so to think that you'd be willing to not just do that for me, but to sign up and want to do that for another human being is incredible. And it makes me very sad that she was like, I don't want that. Please
Yeah.
stop trying to give that to me. And I think it then becomes so very clear of who we actually want to bring in. Like
Yeah.
we want to bring in 90% of who she was. And then this 10% that actually wants to be in a closed throuple with a man that wants to check every box and a woman that is very bisexual and fun and interesting too. Like that's our calling card, I think, of what we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and some people are looking for something very different.
Hmm.
But yes, I agree. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like now I'm thinking, is this, is this dialogue we're having?
Hmm.
How does this still help somebody who is looking for something very different from what we're looking for? Like, um,
I think you can take this same concept and pattern it for the dynamic that you want. If your dynamic is we want to be swingers and we want to like have a super new fun cool experience every weekend, then that's what you go for and you don't look for people like we're looking for, right? Like you're
right.
not going, "Oh yeah, we'll try to pretend to be polyamorous and we'll try to pretend to want to care about you." No, you're like, "Let's have a great time." Like we are friends with benefits. If I am told one more time, we are just friends with benefits, stop trying to lock me down. I you know what we've learned? Like we've
Yeah.
learned we are not FWB.
Yeah.
In fact, we should probably put that on our profile.
Yeah.
No, we are not friends with benefits. We want to fucking love you. Like Scott and I and this person, we were in the kitchen a few days ago, and she asked, how do you envision being retired? And
Mhm.
Scott said, exactly like I am now, doing
Yeah.
what I want to do. And I was like, well, on a good day when I'm not working 12 hours, exactly how I'm doing life, exactly what I'm doing now. And she said, she gave us this vision of what she wanted with her life. And later on, Scott was like, did you realize that nowhere were we in this vision? In fact, it was like space for one person and a cat. Like
Yeah.
there was no, hey, I'd love to live down the street from you guys. Or there was, we're not in her future. And we should have picked up on that, that when we are talking about a future with someone, we're envisioning you being there in it somehow, whether we're living together or we're not, or you're down the street or you're in the same state, right?
Mhm.
Like we want to build something with someone.
Yeah. Yeah. And we want somebody who also is open to building something with somebody. And we have to make sure that they're at least interested, like they're at least
Mhm.
open to that idea. If you're like when you're out looking for somebody, make sure that they are at least open to, you know, to becoming at some point aligned with you, that you both are
Mhm.
willing to grow into something that to where you're both getting what you want, what you need out of a relationship. And if they're saying explicitly, I am not the thing that you are hoping to have, then and be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself about what is what is a need for you,
Mhm.
because 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 it's easy to become enamored with these other traits and to overlook the thing that you know that you need in order to have that satisfying connective well, satisfying relationship, satisfying engagement, whatever it is you're looking for. Know, be honest with yourself and know what it is you actually need and want.
Mhm. That's good advice.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.